Welcome to igmGuru. igmGuru is one of the global leading online training and certification provider for IT expert by the skilled IT gurus to help them achieve their professional goals.
Today we'll discuss about what are actually the service models in the cloud, and why do we have to understand these service models before jumping into the GCP platform or the Google Cloud platform. Okay, so when we talk about cloud computing service models, it is primarily related to the services or the type of services that are offered by the cloud platforms. These service models are related to the services that are offered to the end users like us. Okay. Now, why these service models are important? They are important because based on the requirement, based on the project need, we need to analyze and select a particular service that the cloud is offering us. See, what happens is that when we work on any of the cloud platforms, we do not have the access of their infra directly. Neither we have the access of their virtualization platforms. So what they have done is they have created or developed a kind of a platform which you can consider it as a web interface or a command line interfaces, even software development kits. Through those interfaces, we access the entire infra of the cloud platforms. Okay. So how they are giving the access of that infra? They are giving the access of the infra in the form of services. What they have done is they have added the services, and for each and every service there is a purpose. There is an output that you achieve. So going forward, when we work on the cloud platforms, we have to actually understand and analyze what exactly that particular service does and where exactly we can use it in the real-time scenarios. That is what we need to understand from the cloud perspective. So service models means what are the categories on the basis these services are given to us. And these days there are many service models because there are small scale cloud providers also, medium scale, large scale cloud providers also. But mostly there are three types of service models that are, you can say, categorized from a root level. So the first one is the infrastructure as a service. Now, from the infrastructure as a service name, what do you understand? What could be this particular service model all about?
It's about the infrastructure needs, right, that we talked about. For example, the servers that we access and the storage, those
Correct.
things, right? So
correct.
Yeah.
So infrastructure as a service a type of a service model is, you can say, the most primitive one, and you can say the root of the cloud computing platforms, where we have the access of the infra that is given by the cloud computing platforms. Okay. So that may include virtual machines, creating a virtual servers. That may include using the storages of the cloud platform, or any other part related to infra. That may include even networking also, assigning the IP addresses, security part also, assigning the firewalls and all. That all comes under the category of the infrastructure as a service. Now, since we are accessing everything remotely over the internet, so we do not have the access of a direct physical infra, and the most, you can say, the closest or nearest way of accessing the cloud computing infra is using the infrastructure as a service. However, in the case of infrastructure as a service also, there is a shared responsibility model, where the cloud platforms are going to manage and take the responsibility of creating a virtual server and administrating it. But beyond that, type of an operating system that is going to be deployed, type of the middleware that is going to be deployed, or any kind of an application databases that you're going to create, everything will be taken control by the end user. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of, let's say, some examples related to infrastructure as a service? If I take an example of a Google Cloud, so in the Google Cloud, there is one service called Compute Engine. That is one of the best example for the infrastructure as a service. What we can do
Okay.
with the compute engine services, that we can create a virtual machines, virtual
Okay.
servers, and we can do anything
Okay.
from that virtual servers. So again, if I take an example of an AWS, so in the AWS, EC2 is one of the good example of an infrastructure as a service, which is Elastic Cloud Compute.
Right.
That also allows us to create a virtual machines and the virtual servers, right? Similarly, in
Correct.
the case of Azure as well. Now, coming to a question, what do you think, what is the benefit of using any service of a cloud platform that gives us infrastructure as a service? What is your opinion?
So it is like but I would say the need to maintain a physical space, right, to host this servers and storage and everything that gets reduced, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you get immediate upscaling, and you can increase the storage or the data centers as you need, as per your business. uh, so I think those are the few things that I can think of.
Yes, one of the most important advantage of using an infrastructure as a service is that it gives you more control of an infrastructure. The second thing is that as compared to the other service models, infrastructure as a service is the most cheapest way of accessing the cloud.
Mm.
So when you run a virtual machine or a virtual server and you run it for a longer duration of time, the charges are not that big as compared to the other services. Okay,
Mm.
so that also becomes an advantage. The other advantage is like if you have any kind of a software or an application that needs a customization, a lot of customization is required and you want to deploy them manually one by one. That gives you a
Mm.
choice. You can select an operating system of your choice, the version of an operating system. Let's say I want to deploy a particular software on the cloud, or let's say I want to
Mm.
deploy a website on the cloud. So
Mm.
first of all, I need to select a hardware for it, or I would say that I need to select some computing resources, how much CPU my server is going to use, how much RAM, storage and all. So that much flexibility the end user or the architect has. Okay. Apart from
Mm.
that, the architect has an option to select a particular operating system as well. Whether you are going to run your website on a Windows operating system, on a server edition, which one, whether it is going to be 2019, 2022, or you want to put it
Mm.
on a Linux one. And in the Linux also
Correct.
you have ample range of Linux versions. You have Red Hat, you have CentOS, likewise, and different versions of it. So that again gives a flexibility to the developer of selecting an infra. And
Mm.
apart from that, the type of a middleware that you're going to install, and you can test your applications when you deploy it as many times as you want. Okay. So these are some of the
Okay.
advantages that you get it from the infrastructure as a service. And that is the reason that widely these days AWS EC2 and Google Compute Engine are used in these cloud platforms.
So when you said test as many time as you want, what does it exactly means? So
Sorry, come again, please.
no, you told that we can deploy the we can use the OS of our choice and deploy it
Correct.
and test it as many time as possible, right? So
Absolutely.
how do we
Absolutely. Yeah.
so
So,
how
so
do we
basically, yeah. So let's say if you develop an application running which require Python or Java
hmm,
or any other environment. So to run that Java application, you need to have a Java middleware. So you're going to first install it on your
hmm,
compute engine on your virtual machine, and then you are going to
hmm,
host your Java application, and then you are going to test it whether it is working as fine or not. In case if that
hmm,
application and you want to change a middleware, no, Java application is not working, I want to develop it on Ruby or
hmm,
I want to develop it on .NET. So you require a .NET framework. So you can easily remove Java, you can install .NET framework, and then basically host your .NET application on that infra. So it is giving you an
hmm.
infra, and how do you want to play over it? How do you want to customize it? It is up to you. So that is what basically before putting up your application or websites to the production, you have a lot of opportunities to customize it and test it based on the requirement. You would be able to test whether the infra is working correctly or not. or you want to increase the capacity of an infra from, let's say, from 2 CPUs, you want to move to 4 CPUs or 8 CPUs, you want to increase the RAM. So that scalability option is given to you. You want to change a version of the middleware, let's say you want to change the Java version, you get an opportunity to do that also. And even in case if you want to change the code also, that option you get it. So that much flexibility you get as a developer, right?
Okay. Okay. And like, how can I ensure high
Yeah.
availability and disaster recoveries in this IaaS environments? Like,
Yeah, so that is a disadvantage of using an infrastructure as a service. So one advantage is that cost saving. It is basically going to save a lot of cost. But when we talk about the cons of an infrastructure as a service is that from the high availability, from the redundancy perspective, we have to manually do that. We have to plan a redundancy manually.
okay.
For example,
Okay.
let's say if I need to host my website on multiple servers, so I need to manually create instances or servers and then host the application over it. And then if I need to define a failover also, so manual configuration needs to be done on the virtual server so that auto failover can be done. It is something which the cloud is not going to manage for you, right? Cloud can only
Right.
manage the auto scaling feature. An auto scaling feature is one of the feature that is given to the infrastructure as a services, where it will allow you to create or get new instances created automatically, new servers created automatically, and extra servers deleted automatically based on the fluctuation of the traffic, the actual traffic. That
Okay.
automation you can select using infrastructure as a service with the feature called auto scaling. But in that case also, let's say if a new instance or a new virtual server is created, again you have to do the deployment of your application on that server. Then only you can put it to get a real-time traffic, or you can use it with the load balancers, right? So most of the
Right.
manual intervention is required in the case of infrastructure as a service, as it's not a fully managed service. And that is the reason that
Got
it
it.
is cheap, and like a lot of manual work is to be done by the architects or the developers here. Okay.
Got it.
Thanks for watching the video. For full course, please visit www.igmguru.com and enroll today.